Hello. We are at the Rogers County Comprehensive Plan workshop to see what's going to be going on in the future of our county and our towns here in Rogers County. So if you are available, the workshop is come and go. You can come and ask questions and look at the maps and look at the plan and see what you like, what you don't like, and give your opinions, ask questions. And it's really important to get down here. It's from 4 to 6 here at the Rogers County Courthouse in Claremore.
So we are here. So if you don't know anything about the comprehensive plan, basically what is happening is this is an initiative that's coming from D.C. It's in every county of the United States, believe it or not. They make it look like it's not. Let me switch this around. So, yeah, they act like it's all regional and local, but the fact is that this is all very impactful. Mobility, so what they're talking about mobility is the roads and highways. So basically, some of the information that we've been getting is that, they want to expand public like bus routes and all those things, which all sound good on the surface. But what is happening is, with it is part of the 30-30 plan, which the Biden administration rolled out, which is 30% of the U.S. land belonging to the government. So you can imagine the impact of that. So the parks and trails over here, basically what that is they want to run trails through people's private properties. And so what happens there is there's a issue of easement. There's an issue of, there's bike trails and stuff going through people's properties. So we don't know what happens if somebody has an accident. Who is liable? Those questions are not being answered. They get these guys that are from different agencies that roll it out, and it all sounds so wonderful and beautiful. But then when you start asking these questions, there's not a clear answer. So there's no clear answer. So who is liable if there is a bike trail going through your property and somebody gets hurt? Is the county going to pay for it? Are you going to pay for it? How about maintenance and all that? So none of that. The language is very vague, and it's not good. So it all sounds really pretty. Now, for you conspiracy theorists, it's not a conspiracy, but a lot of the verbiage is what's found in the UN, the new UN resolutions for using public lands and private lands.
Removed some of the wording that we asked them to remove, but not all of it. And we want to make sure that that wording stays out of it, because this is just a draft, so anything could be added in later on. So, but also...
And it's part of what is it, Agenda 2030? Or
yes, Agenda 2030, that Biden signed an executive order, I believe the first day in office, where he wants to preserve 30% of America's land and 30% of the water. So where's that 30% going to come from? You and me.
Yep. So if you own land or even access to water, whether it's literal or I can't remember the other term. It's access to water. So let's say you have a lakefront property. That's going to affect you. So literal meaning Littoral. And I'm trying to remember what the other one is.
Can everybody hear me?
What's the other? It's literal lands, and what's the other?
So this is a come and go, and I'm asking everyone to please be very nice. If we are not going to be nice, then we will ask you to leave. This is a civil discussion. This is all we're primarily trying to get done here. And if we can have people give us their thoughts on what each table is representing, then I think we'll have a better outcome. But when somebody is not nice, we will ask you to leave. Thank you.
Good job. Yep. It's literal land, and what's the other? I'm pointing to the maps.
Literal land. I don't know what that is.
Access to water. Land that's access to water. There was literal and then Yeah, we discussed it. It was in the plan. Remember, we had to look up the words.
I don't know, but this is a terrible live feed. If you'll be having.
Well, because I thought you would remember it.
No, I don't remember that.
But anyway, yeah.
She will too.
Yep. So anyway, a little.
You've been able to go around and show.
Yeah. Yep.
All the maps.
Yep. So this is part of the comprehensive plan that every county, every town is being rolled out. It sounds like it's pretty homegrown, but it's not. This is a top-down move to do quote-unquote improvements, but we don't think that's it. The parks and trails. Yeah, I explained that.
Yeah.
So the parks and trails will go through some private land, and
We
then
don't know that. That's what we are making sure.
It will.
I know.
It will.
It will.
He's doing a live feed. It's like
Yeah.
you don't
Oh,
want
I
to say
know.
things
Yeah.
that aren't
so if the language isn't clear,
100%.
that's what
Like-
we're concerned about.
That's what we're trying to make sure does not happen.
Right.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Handwriting ordering employers.
Probably.
So yeah, we did get that label. But so this was from the USDOT. They gave us this line work all the way down to here. So
This line right here.
that's why I was unfamiliar.
This is unincorporated.
USDOT Department of Transportation.
Not Oklahoma. United States.
ODOT through.
ODOT.
They're their representatives.
Okay. And what's the solid line represent?
That is an existing bush trail, right?
Okay.
It's not suitable for bicycles.
Nope, we're just recognizing it on the plan.
Oh, excuse me. This total entire thing floods. It's not suitable for bicycles.
And we're just trying to show a connection to that.
This one's 410.
It's over here.
His, the ranch.
Yeah, it's
So on the bike trail, the yellow dotted line on the highway, what's the proposal?
No, you're fine. I'm going to
we have not, we did some cross sections that were fit within the existing
Right,
driveway
exactly,
plan,
exactly.
and they show some of the trails that will be within the existing driveway. Because we have to search our engineer or designer to make sure that that is accomplished.
So you're gonna put a bike trail on the highway?
over here might help. I'm not sure.
I mean, like right here, I've got 200 acres right here.
Okay.
So I'm right off that road right there. So what are you gonna take of mine right there?
There's nothing planned to be taken.
You're just gonna make a bike trail right there?
And how many feet from the bike trail people have access to your road?
It'll be on the roadway system.
It'll be in the easements.
roadway system.
Unless you build a connection from the trail to your property.
So any road in Claremore is 32 feet. Any non-highway road is 32 feet.
Okay, so I have a question. Why
That's the easement from the center of the road to the.
Well, that's a highway road, right?
If that's highway, it's 65 feet.
They get 65
Center
feet.
5 from center.
U.S.
Yeah.
Department
Are they
of
gonna buy it, or-
Transportation is already
There's
working
already an
on
easement if there's a highway
a
there.
trail that goes along
Okay,
66.
well, they've got our
One of the
land's
big
big
things we
stop,
heard
so
from
the
Ruiz
easement's
being
out of our
like
hands.
Tuala,
It's already there.
It's already there.
were
Yeah.
to find ways to connect Route 66
But
so that they can benefit.
typically
What
speak,
else?
in most,
I can imagine putting a bike trail next to a 65
trail
mile per hour
connection on
speed limit.
roadways.
what they'll do is they'll move the bike trail 15 feet off the side and run it against the fence line. If the fence line's not right, then they'll incorporate another 15 feet. That's generally what happens. That's not in their plan, but when you look at the national plan, that's kind of what it's doing. So what you and all your other landowners need to do is say, we don't want any bike trails. If we want a bike trail, we'll
It's
put
all
it in
based on future
ourselves.
funding and whether it's available. If it's not available, then it won't be built.
But I know that because I'm in. I was concerned about this. But since he said this is 4,100, I'm right there. So I have 200 acres right
Since
there.
the last public meeting,
Well, we've got
we've relocated the
3
trails we
farms.
planned to just roadways.
So other farm
Ones that we planned.
crosses
They're
on 20 West.
on that
So that would be,
in what city?
where's 20 West? This is 20, right? Where does the river go in from 20 West? Right here?
You see them.
No, that's in verticals. Am I not
That's an
finding
old
it?
map.
20 West right here.
These are the updated ones that we're trying to change.
So there's nothing there. We're good there. And then we've got one out on Old 88.
People can understand what it is currently on the books. And this is what would be the update. So that would go away.
So what's this? This isn't even on
So are we going to
anything.
get to vote on this plan?
This is part of, this right here is part of the USDOT. That's something that was given to us. So that wasn't something we put in there.
So do we get to vote on it? So do we get to vote on it?
You're going to have to go through city staff to find out what the process is.
Okay. Thank you.
County staff. Where all the blue is, it's not
So this is typical of what we're running into. Part of it is a DOT plan. So the problem is when you ask, can we vote on it, they don't have an answer. So this is why we are kind of concerned about what's going on, because we become so lazy as citizens that we just allow the government to do whatever. And this 30-30 plan, again, is 30% of the water, 30% of the land in the United States owned by the federal government for quote-unquote conservation purposes. So,
That one is the same as this one.
right.
Oh, maybe he's explaining something. Yeah, go ahead. It's hard to hear you.
So is there anything proposed besides this thing that they're working on right now?
Yeah, we couldn't get many answers on anything. She didn't really give us much information.
Right. Which is a concern that we have as
Do you
citizens
live
that...
out in that area?
No, I'm in Catoosa,
Okay.
but regardless, it will affect us. We're in Rogers County,
Yeah.
so
Because in the mornings and peak times, like in the afternoon, there's a lot of congestion around there
Yes.
anyway. Like
Maybe that'll alleviate it.
yeah,
You think so?
This all that.
yeah. They're building that. If you go across Highway 66, they're building that access from.
It won't be everybody just
Yeah.
stop right there and go, well, I'm going left, I'm going right, move out of the way and all that. Hopefully, if they don't put a bunch of stop signs on it.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, a lot of it is, and I want to retract some of the things I said. The issue is that when you ask a lot of questions, they don't have answers, and then they just keep deferring. Oh, well, can you? And you ask them, can we vote on this? They don't have an answer. Can we change the language? We can do it, and that's what this is. This is all kind of fact finding, so we could figure out what's really happening. Now, understand this. This is happening simultaneously in all 3,000 plus counties in the United States, and that's the part they're not exposing, right? So this comprehensive plan is in every city. Catoosa, where we live, we found out about the meeting about 2 hours before, and we could not accumulate enough information for the city council to vote it down. So now we're in the next phase. So what we're doing is we're gathering information, asking the counselors to in each ward to find out, to research, and to see if that language. So what it is, it's the UN 2030 agenda, the same language that's found in the UN proposals is what's found in all of these proposals and all the stuff that they're trying to change in these comprehensive plans. So imagine that every city, every small town, rural and urban, is going through this, these changes and these structures. And so all we're asking as citizens is what is really going on. Can we vote on it? Yes or no? So this is not a voting. This is just fact-finding. You get to sit at a table, and one of the county people responsible could answer your questions. Like the gentleman that I did earlier, he wasn't very, he didn't know, and he kept kind of obfuscating whether we could vote on it or not, and he just deferred to the county. So that's kind of like the thing that we're experiencing. My wife is very involved in this.
There's a group called City Elders that we go to every Tuesday night, and we have Liberty Brigades, which different people join brigade and they start going to the city council meetings, or they'll go to the school board meetings or the planning commission meetings. There's a Liberty Brigade for election integrity. So, and depending on where you are, because I think there's 11 counties in Oklahoma right now that have city elder groups. So, depending on the size of the county and the size of the group will depend on how many brigades you have. So, and you just go to your city council meeting if that's what you're doing, and you take notes. Something major's going on, and you report back. And so far in our county, it's working really well. That's why you see so many people in this room right now, is because our city elders group got together and we sent out thousands and thousands of, Tony helped, he helped address, stamp, fold the flyers, and we had somebody that donated a lot of money to get the flyers made, buy the stamps, envelopes, and everything. So our group is really getting active and getting things done here in this county. So this is how you get things done. This is how you turn the tide and turn things around. You have to start right here in your county, in your city, or your town. Then once you get those people in line, which it may either be removing them through vote and putting people in that are through the city elders group, through people that you know that are conservative, that are actually for the Constitution. That's how you do it. We have gone so long thinking that the government was doing okay. We knew there was some corruption and stuff, that we just didn't know how much until November 4th, 2020. And then again on January 6th, 2021. So, and then it just snowballed from there, and we now know that, well, if you're watching this, you know what I mean. So, this is how you do it. You get people involved, and you just keep taking back territory. We gave up so much territory. You have to just keep taking it back a little bit at a time, and it's going to get frustrating, and you're going to end up having to squeeze things in that you really enjoy doing into in between things like this. Because if you've got kids or grandkids and you want them to grow up like you did, where you felt like you were free and safe, you're going to have to get involved doing this, and it's going to take time away from things you might want to do. There's a lot of things I would rather be doing right now. In fact, pretty much anything other than this right now. But this is important, and if I don't want to lose my country to communism totally, then I'm going to have to give some time to this type of stuff, and so will you.
So one of the things I've been telling them is that this is happening every county, all 3,000 counties. It's happening pretty much simultaneously.
Oh, yeah.
And people aren't even aware it's happening. It's happening in Broward County in Florida, where my sister lives. It's happening in all these places. And if you're not paying attention, especially if you're a property owner, especially if you have land that you farm, any of that, those are the most impactful. So think about, where we get our food from. That's what they're trying to restrict and divide. So.
And trying to put the parks and trails going
through
people's private properties. And that's one thing that so far they said, after we met with them and said, this cannot happen, that they now have moved those trails off of people's private properties onto easements that have already been allocated. But we're going to have to stay on top of it to make sure that actually comes to pass when the trails start getting built. And the other question is, where's the money to upkeep all these trails going to come from? We already have state parks that have been shut down at Ullaga Lake years ago that the citizens that lived there decided that they wanted to keep open, so they take care of it and keep it going for the past 20 years. If we can't keep those up because we don't have the money, we're talking thousands and thousands of miles across Oklahoma of bike trails and hiking trails. Who's going to take care of that, and where's the money going to come from?
Yeah.
And we don't want grant money from the federal government because that is strings attached, and then whatever they put their money into, they own.
And once they own it, they don't give it back.
That's right.
So one of the things, too, the trails that we're dealing with here are connecting all the way through into Iowa. So they're all coming down and connecting, and that's what they're trying to do. Each state connecting with other states, so they do these long trails, which sound like a great idea, but really, who's going to use them? And so what is really going on? So, and when she said we stopped it here, it was only here that we stopped it. It's not being stopped anywhere. It's not being stopped in Tulsa.
And we
it's
haven't
not
totally stopped it.
Right.
What they did was they gave us an extension because we told them there's hardly any citizens out of the almost 98,000 citizens in Rogers County. Very few people knew about it. So at the Planning Commission meeting, they chose to give us, now the room was packed, people were sitting on the floor and sitting on the walls, and all kinds of people got up and spoke. And they spoke nicely. They didn't come in because our Planning Commission was being nice. So in turn, when people got up and spoke, they were also nice, but they gave their concerns about what would affect them. So at the end of that, they decided to give us 60 days extension because it was about to go to vote. It's going to go to vote like 2 weeks after that meeting. They decided to give us 60 more days to get the word out, and that's why we did those flyers and stuff, and this workshop is happening because on June 20th, they're supposed to vote on this. If we think we need another extension, we will request that again. So it's still not actually stopped here, and in fact, our city of Catoosa passed their comprehensive plan a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even know that it was happening there, you know? So it is a lot to keep on top of and keep track of. But it's worth it. It's important. So, and even if when we get this thing stopped here, or get it not stopped, but get it to where it's constitutional, there's going to be something else. Because there's always going to be something else.
And that's one of the things. What we are asking for is every decision is made based on the Constitution, not whatever program. Because the one thing is, this is not something that's being done by elected officials. It's really not being done through the election process or the voting process. It's being through commissions and counties.
County commissioners do take part in it, and because they actually, once we brought our concerns to them, they wrote up a resolution saying that there should be no executive order wording or 2030 agenda wording in our comprehensive plan in Rogers County, and they all signed it, sent it out, and so they are involved. But yeah, there are a lot of people involved that are not elected.
Yeah. And just think of this: we have Rogers County is pretty populated. So when you think of all the
98,000.
Yeah, so when you think of counties like Shawnee and those counties that are not very populated, then that is a problem because you're talking a few farmers are the ones being concerned because it's going to affect them directly. But the small towns are so small that communication isn't there. So that's really where a lot of taking advantage of this is going to happen. So getting the word out is so difficult because, by the way, if you notice, there's no media here. So there's no media. They don't report it. They don't do it. And that's part of the overall thing that we're encountering as citizens, that the media is not being very cooperative.
Well, and also at two of the meetings that we've shown up to, we were later told that somebody had called them and told them that we were a violent group. And so there were armed police officers at both of those meetings. And the funny thing is, halfway through the meeting, the officers are actually laughing at some of the comments that people are standing up and giving because they saw saw, these people are far from violent.
Yeah.
We were all like, I mean, come on, look around.
Yeah. We're all too fat, too old, and too out of shape to do any sort of violent.
No, nobody here is.
Do you remember what the experience regions were about? I try to get in there, but it is fully crowded. I think that was more of a tourism type of
Yes, it is.
plan. So I was trying to get in there, but look at this.
So you see the guy that's over here talking right now. He is the same guy that wrote the plan, or helped, the same company that helped write the plan for Catoosa. So these companies are making about millions
of dollars.
I won't even say it on here how much, because I haven't looked it up to see that. We've just heard, and it has not been denied by the Planning Commission. But they're all going around to these counties and towns and writing these plans.
And they don't even live here. They don't live here.
No, they don't live here.
Yep.
So that's...
Yeah, there's something more going on, right, than meets the eye. So, yeah. So, yeah, this guy, the guy over there in the corner with the map, he's the one that presented in Catoosa. We were shot down. We only found out about the meeting about a couple hours before,
Yes.
and we didn't have time to prepare. So when we brought up our concerns, what they said was that we were spreading false information, or
that we were giving
misinformation
to Rogers County. And if we were giving misinformation to Rogers County, I am quite sure that the Planning Commission and most of the Planning Commission, I think half the Planning Commission is volunteers and half of them are paid employees. If we were giving them misinformation, they wouldn't have set up a workshop like this. If we were giving them misinformation, they wouldn't have given us a 60-day extension to make sure more citizens in Rogers County knew about it. So, although I'm sure the man, I'm not going to say his name, but the man that said that at the Catoosa meeting that night, I've never known him to be anything but a good man. I think he's misinformed. So he chose to believe that we were spreading misinformation, and that's okay. I mean, that's up to him, but it's on each one of us to become informed.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to sign off and then sign back on again a little bit.